All right, so you guys have all seen the movie Dumb and Dumber, where the guy asks the girl, he goes, "What are my chances of getting with you?" And she goes, "About 1 in a million." And he goes, "So you're telling me there's a chance?" That is exactly how I'm feeling about the Bears going into the playoffs. Barely snuck in by way of the Cardinals losing. But, we're not just here to talk about the Bears. We're here to talk about every single team that made it into the playoff. If you are one of the 14 teams standing on the board, congrats. It's the start of a new season, and we do not know what to expect in the playoffs, but we will try our best. Luke G. Field Review is back again. He was on the Week 17 picks, and I got a lot of comments and people saying, I really enjoyed that video, so I had to bring him back for the playoffs. How you doing today?
Hey, I'm glad to be back. Glad to talk some football, and I'm doing good, man. Let's get into it. We both did well for Week 17. When I look back on it, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, we both went 13-3. This is one of my best weeks. I think I had one week where I went like 14-2 or something. My final percentage was I didn't end up calculating. I was about 2/3, about 2 out of every 3 games, which I'd say is pretty good. So,
not bad.
Yeah, so before we go, yes, the Bears lost. I've got the whole you don't know football routine. I've gotten the bias routine, and it's fine. So let's get into it. The first game is, the Bears. They are playing the New Orleans Saints in the Superdome. For no reason whatsoever, this game is going to be on Nickelodeon. Please tell me why we're having a football game on like a kids channel. That just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. Now, I do not think the Bears played that bad last week. They did a lot of things that I liked. They were controlling the ball. They were running the ball. They did a really good job of eating the clock. They were controlling time of possession. They were driving down the field. What I didn't like, the settling for field goals. I think Tavon Austin fumbled a punt. We got the ball on the 20-yard line and settled for a field goal. That just made me mad. And the Packers just they took care of their opportunities when given them. I am the first person to stand up for the defense. Defense didn't look great. The Bears do end up going to the Superdome to play the Saints. Now, I'm going to keep this one quick, okay? Do I think the Saints will win? My assumption is probably. I'm pretty sure the Saints are going to win. But, okay, the Bears took them to overtime with Foles. Trubisky's better than Foles. We know that for a fact. And I think the Saints will win, but I'm picking the Bears. I'm not shying away from my team. I think there's a chance they can win. It's not going to be a blowout. The Saints didn't blow out the Bears the first time. It's not going to happen again. The Saints are most likely going to win, but I'm not shying away from the Bears. I'm just going to take them. I'm pulling for them.
Yeah, I think that when looking at it, you want to kind of look at it a little bit different. Now, I'm not going to knock you for picking your team. You should pick your teom. You should have faith in your team. You should root for them.
I'm not taking against them in a playoff setting. I just can't do that.
Well, I think it's going to boil down to how often they can get home on Taysom Hill and how often they can get home on Breeze, because they're going to mix in Hill and Breeze, and I think that's where the Achilles heel come in at for the Bears defense. When they get those quarterbacks who can take off on them, they don't rush the same. And they're going to have a lot of attention on Kamara. And I think the person that they really want to pay attention to in this game, for this playoff game, should be the tight ends of the Saints. Because I think they're going to use them a lot. With that being said, is there a chance for the Bears to win? Absolutely. It's any given Sunday. Do I think they're going to win? Absolutely not. They have no.
Yeah, I'm not even going to blame you for that. I just think for the people that are saying the Saints are just going to come in and road grade the Bears by 40 points, that's just not going to happen. I think when you have a defense as good as the Bears defense, you can be in any game. it comes down to there was a play. This made I need to get this off my chest because this made me so mad. There was a play, and I think like the second quarter, the Bears were up 10-7, and they had Danny Trevathan come up like right behind the line of scrimmage, and he was like acting like he was going to blitz, and then they were going to have him pull back in coverage. They had him 1-on-1 against Marquez Valdez-Scantling. And they're like he's starting at the line of scrimmage in the same spot as Scantling, and he has to like run back and cover him, and he just burnt him on a streak. That just made me so mad.
Well, Green Bay does a very good job of mixing it up and getting those mismatches. I've seen them do it too often. So there was a lot of talk early that Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers wasn't getting along, but it looked like it's working out great. Yeah. And the reality is this. If this game was being played in Chicago, then I would took the Bears. I think the defense will be able to get after them, and it's cold. But in New Orleans,
they don't know what cold is.
No, yeah. Right. So I think that's for the Saints get a chance to get ahead of you guys.
I've heard some people saying start Foles. That ship has sailed. That ship has sailed a long time ago. There's no way they're going to start Foles.
And it don't matter. It don't matter who y'all start. Y'all have to have more of a commitment to the running backs.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I don't understand why they're refusing to utilize the running backs.
Here's another thing. Darnell Mooney and Roquan Smith both were like lingering with injuries in that game, so they're questionable. My assumption is that both of them will play, but that's just a cause for concern. All right, enough about the Bears. Next matchup is the Rams. They took care of the Cardinals 18-7, awkward score there, against the Cardinals. They're facing the Seahawks at CenturyLink Field, and I think this one's going to be pretty easy for me. I'm taking Seattle. They won just 2 weeks ago when they played. I just don't see the Rams being able to keep up. I'm not sure if they're going to have Goff back or not. I think even when Goff played, they lost anyway. I just think Seattle's going to be the way better team. I think they're going to run away with this one.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. I agree. I think that Seattle comes in, and I think that they do a very good job of establishing it. It's going to still be a close game, though, because one thing that I have been disgusted with Seattle this season is at times they become too run heavy, and then at times they're not run heavy enough. And then what happens is Wilson is then being asked to do things that I really don't want him to do. But I think looking at the Rams, they don't really have the run game that they used to have with Ty Gurley, and they don't really have that same
They sort of had like the different running back routine. They had like Darrell Henderson Jr. as the main back, and then it was what's their running back, Akers. He was in there for a while. It's just they've had the every other running back routine.
And it's not the same. Like when in the times where I used to be worried about them, they had a run game that would scare me. Now that's not there. Even if Goff play, I'm not afraid of Goff. So
yeah, Jared Goff is not like he's just not that great.
Yeah, so I expect Seattle to go out there and get the win. So I'm taking Seattle this game.
Now don't get me wrong, I'd kill to have Jared Goff on the Bears. But all right, the next one is I think it's a very intriguing game, and not a lot of people are going to be very interested. I'm very interested to see what we have in this game. The football team. Oh, that was the other game you got wrong. You picked the Eagles.
So I got 4 wrong.
Okay, yes, because we were discussing that before. So yeah.
Yep.
All right, so man, Doug Peterson is the most wanted man in New York. My friend is a huge Giants fan. He is so you don't even know how mad he is. Sam, I know you're watching. I'm sorry, but anyway, I think this could be a very intriguing matchup between the football team and the Buccaneers because in the history of teams that had a losing record going into the playoffs, like the football team, 7-9, I think they actually have a winning record in the playoffs. I know the Seahawks beat the Saints with that Marshawn Lynch just running over people, just like bowling pins. They had a losing record that year, so there has been some history with teams with a losing record getting into the playoffs. And I think the defense and the speed they bring on that defense with Sweat and Chase Young, I think they could cause some problems for Tom Brady. And I think this will be a close competitive game. I don't think Tampa Bay will run away with this one. I just don't see
Yeah,
Alex Smith being able to keep up in the end. I just don't trust Washington's offense enough to where I am going to pick the Bucks. But I'm expecting a good game out of this
I'm not. I'm expecting them to get exposed. Um, let's be honest. The Washington football team almost took an L on Sunday.
one. That's true.
Let's be honest. They almost took an L on Sunday. And the biggest problem that I saw in that game that they were struggling with was a mobile quarterback, right? But the bigger issue was that they cornerbacks are they're not up to par. They got pass rush, obviously, but the bus got Leonard Fournette. They got Ronald
Ronald Jones.
Jones. And then they got Gronkowski and Cameron Brate, and then you just keep going down the list of talent, and then you go on the defensive side of the ball, and I'm watching as the Eagles, who are depleted with injuries, still got home on Alex Smith, and now you're talking about Barrett and Sue. And yeah, it's just too much. I expect them to go and win and steamroll them.
Yeah, I think if their pass rush can get to Brady, it could cause some problems. I know Mike Evans had something going on with his knee against the Falcons. I don't know about that. Even if he doesn't
Yeah,
play, I still think Tampa will win. All right, now we're going
yeah.
to switch to the AFC. The first matchup is the Bills hosting the Indianapolis Colts, who got in by way of the Dolphins losing, which I'm telling you, the Dolphins will be a dangerous team next year. They got the third overall pick. Don't know who they're going to pick. They can go plenty of options, but they're going to be a dangerous team. But they ended up getting left out. I think this is the Bills. And wait, where do I have them? I have them here. Oh, shoot. You guys didn't see that. Okay, so I'm taking the Bills. I just think that their offense is going to be too much. I just think Josh Allen is just going to be able to make enough plays. I don't really see the playmakers on the Colts being able to do anything. I just think Buffalo's the way better team, and it's going to be hard for the Colts on the road. Dome team playing in Buffalo. I just think the Colts are going to have a tough time.
Yeah, I would agree with you if the Colts didn't have a stadium that allows for cold air to be pumped in there like nobody's business. But the truth is when I watched the Bills, most of the time that they struggled, teams were able to run the ball on them. And I do suspect that the Colts are going to come out and run the ball. So this is one of those games that I think is really going to be close. I think the Bills win the game, but I can easily see how the Colts can sneak in there and steal one, because they do have the ability to run the ball, and they also have the ability to create a mismatch with the running backs with the Bills linebackers. Because one thing, as much people talk about the Bills defense, I don't. Their defensive line is not as aggressive or dominant as I've seen some other teams this year. So I'm taking the Bills to win the game, but I would not be surprised if the Colts pulled it off.
Okay, next one is the Steelers and the Browns. If you're wondering why I said you didn't see that, I accidentally clicked on the Steelers. Like, I'm revealing the teams. I accidentally revealed the Steelers instead of the Bills. So I'm taking the Steelers. I like Cleveland. I like their defense. I like how they could run the ball. I think I think he'll be all right. It's just, oh man, I want to get behind the Browns. I mean, they remind me a lot of the Titans last year, in which they can just run it down your throat. But I just don't see how they're going to beat Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh lost by 2 with Mason Rudolph at quarterback. And when they played the first time, they absolutely annihilated them. I just don't see how, in a playoff atmosphere on the road with everyone playing, I just don't see how they're going to be able to beat Pittsburgh.
Yeah, correct me if I'm right or wrong. They split the season, right? Like, didn't
They
they?
split. So Pittsburgh embarrassed them the first time they played, and then Cleveland won last time.
Right, and so now coming off of where you just played them, and now you got to go back in and play them again, and you know that they didn't have their dogs out there. I'm expecting for Pittsburgh to show up and do something. However, the X factor is it's going to be not the running backs this game, but the receiver play of the Cleveland Browns if they're going
From
to pull it out.
Landry and Beckham and
Yep,
Peoples Jones.
they're going to have to win those matchups, but I'm taking Pittsburgh to win the game.
All right, and our last one is a rematch from last year. I was so this might have been one of the most shocking upsets that I've seen in the NFL. So I was at my friend's house for this game, and I'm just like the biggest Lamar Jackson fan out there. My dad went to Louisville. I remember watching Lamar Jackson in Louisville. I went to saw him play. I saw him play Purdue. He was absolutely electric. I show up to the game. I show up to my friend's house wearing my Lamar Jackson Louisville jersey, and just the way Tennessee came in and just absolutely dominated them as a 6 seed. That was just something I'd never seen before, and that was just wild. This game is actually going to be at Tennessee. They're the 4 seed. Baltimore is the 5. When I'm looking at all these matchups, this one's got to be the best one that I see. I think this is the best one I see. Do you disagree with that?
Yeah, I think the better one's going to come down to the Colts. That Colts game is going to be the better matchup. But if in this game, it's still a good matchup. But to me, I think there's a clear cut winner in this game because somebody can't be consistent. I'm gonna save it for when it's my turn to make my pick.
So I think we know about not being consistent. That's the Ravens. I'm taking Tennessee. They beat them in the regular season this year by just pounding the run game. And just the Ravens, it's either their offense with Lamar Jackson, it's either working and clicking on all cylinders, or they can't get a first down. It's just you never know with them. They're a great team. They were my preseason Super Bowl pick, but I just don't see it forming out this year. I love the way Tennessee. We saw it last year. They're literally built for playoff football. They can run the ball. I feel like playoff games are more defensively oriented. The saying, defense wins championships. That's why I think the Bears have a chance. But I am gonna take Tennessee.
Yeah, I agree. Every game I watch when it comes to Tennessee and Baltimore, even going back to it, it just seemed like players don't want to tackle Derrick Henry. And to me, the person that I think wins this game is not Derrick Henry because they're going to 100% gear up to stop him. I think Tannehill lights them up. I think Brown and Corey Davis have a big game, and all the attention goes to stopping the run game. And then I think the inconsistencies continue with the Ravens. I don't know if they want to be a run team, lean on a quarterback team. They certainly ain't trying to be balanced. So for me, when I say that level of inconsistency, it makes me feel confident in saying, nah, Tennessee going to pull this one out.
All right, so A.J. Brown is the most underrated wide receiver in the entire NFL. If you could get him in fantasy, get him. He will perform for you every single week. The catch he had against the Texans where they were tied 38-38 with like 20 seconds, Tannehill just threw it up to him, and he came down with it to win the division. That was just absolutely sensational. So you have the Seahawks playing the Saints and the Bucks playing the Packers. I have the Packers playing the Bears and the Seahawks playing the Bucks. Packers-Bears, we've seen this movie twice already. It's just going to be the same result. The Packers are going to win. Who do you think wins between Green Bay and Tampa?
That is intriguing because the one thing I know is that Brady is okay with working in the cold. The issue are the other guys. And so with them having to travel to Green Bay and it being cold, I think Green Bay takes it to them. Because one thing about them, they're not going to be able to get home as much. So I will take the Packers to win against the Buccaneers on this one.
All right, so now my second matchup is the Seahawks hosting the Buccaneers. This one is going to be a treat, and I think it could become a track meet. It could just become nonstop scoring, and I think it's going to be interesting. I definitely trust the offenses from both teams. I trust Brady and Wilson to go out and do their thing. The reason I'm going to have Tampa winning this game is I do not in any way, shape, or form trust Seattle's defense. Their secondary is it's just been awful this year. I don't see how they're going to stop Evans, Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin, Gronk, Brate. I just don't see how they're going to be able to do it. It'll come down to this might be one of those who has the ball last routines, but I trust Tampa's all-around team more. That's why I'm going to have them going to the NFC Championship. You have the Seahawks and the Saints. Who do you have there?
All right, so here's where I jump on ship with you about the Seahawks defensive secondary, and I think the Saints carve them up to high hell. They can get all the pressure in the world, but the cornerbacks can't cover poop with a blanket, and so it's to the point where it's too easy for me to look at it, and I think Seattle takes a shortcoming to the Saints on that regard.
All right, so now we agreed on all three of them for the AFC, so we're gonna have the same matchups here. The Chiefs and the Titans. Now this is a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game, and what people forget is the Titans had a lead in that game. They were up about 10, close to halftime, and then the defense just fell apart. Mahomes was making play after play after play. I could see a similar thing happening. I think Tennessee will hang with them for a little bit. It's just a matter of, are you going to be able to stop Mahomes for the entire game? And they didn't last game, and I don't think they're going to be able to this game. I think the Chiefs are going to eventually pull away. This will be close. The Titans will hang with them, but I just don't think they're going to be able to come away with a win.
Yep, this is one of them games that if it was played in Tennessee, then my confidence levels would be different. But because the game is going to be played at Kansas City, and Kansas City decided to rest players, I think they come out cold, and I'm going to give you your first upset of the playoffs with the Tennessee Titans beating the Kansas City Chiefs.
Ooh, okay. I like that. Dang, okay. I was not expecting that. So you have the Titans walking into Arrowhead and getting a win. All right, the next one is the Steelers at the Bills. We saw this movie before in the regular season, same place, same setting, same players, and the Bills went out and dominated. They went out, I wouldn't say dominated. They definitely won the game, and it was like not in doubt for the last part of the game. And I just think if you look at the Bills this season, they won 13 games. The 3 games they lost were a close, really close game against the Chiefs, a Hail Mary, and a game on a Tuesday. They've been, I think, the 1B to Kansas City's 1A as the best team in football. I think that the Steelers are just outmatched. I'm taking the Bills.
Yeah, I'm jumping on board with you on this one. I don't think that the Steelers receivers do enough to create what they need to get the win here. And plus, on top of that, the Steelers' run game to me is questionable at best. I question what they're doing with it. And so, to me, I think the Bills come out, got a little bit more firepower, a little bit more mobility in the butt, and I think they get the win.
Okay. Now, AFC and NFC Championship. I have the Packers Bucks. You have Packers and Saints. For the AFC, I have Chiefs and Bills. You have the Titans and Bills. So I'll start with Packers and Bucks. I'm basically going to go with the same reasons you said for Packers Bucks in the divisional round. It's going to be really cold, and I just don't think Tampa Bay is going to be able to keep up with Green Bay. I just don't see Green Bay getting beat by anyone in the NFC. I just don't see it. I think they're by far and away the best team in the NFC, and they should have an easy road to Super Bowl 55. You have Packers and Saints.
Yeah, see, the Saints will be a good team to play the Packers, and I can see this one being another one of those games that could be possibly close. But I think where this one gets intriguing is what Saint team do we get?
Oh, yeah. Okay. They've been the biggest Jekyll and Hyde team all year, besides maybe the Bears.
And that's my point. Depending on what Saints team that we get, that would change my opinion a little bit. But if I'm doing it based on percentages, I'm gonna say 49-51 Packers, and so I'm picking the Packers to win this one. I think the cold could play a part for the Saints, but I think one thing is they are an experienced team, and experience will win out. And this one just happens to be on the Packers.
I don't think it'll be that. I don't think if that matchup comes to play, I don't think it'd be that high scoring. But I do think
If I say, I think it's going to be a dogfight. I think it's going to be close in a dogfight because one of the things about the Packers that I noticed with the Packers, the moment quarterbacks start running, defense start looking real suspect. And so if you put Taysom Hill out there, good luck with that.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I can see it.
All right. So I have the Chiefs and Bills. You have Titans and Bills. Okay. I know everyone. I've heard. There have been like bets placed. Are you taking Kansas City or the field? And there have been more people taking Kansas City than the field. I'll tell you that right now. These two teams played back. Oh, they played on this was one of those weird. It was supposed to be playing on a Sunday, but COVID pushed it back to a Monday. It was like Monday at 2 p.m. It was a weird game. And these two teams played in Buffalo at Orchard Park, And it was a great game. It was very defensively oriented. The Bills, their defense showed up against the Chiefs. I think it was like 23-17 or something like that. And Buffalo recovered a fumble with about a minute to go. And they overturned it. They said his knee was down. And then I think Kansas City kicked a field goal to go up 2 scores. And I think they won like 26-17. I think that the Bills will be able to hang with the Chiefs. I like the Bills defense more than I do the Chiefs defense. I mean, the Chiefs defense, they have some good players. They've got Matthew. They've got some studs there. But I like the Bills defense a lot more. And in the playoffs, I think you're going to see a very much defensively oriented game in this one. I think that it's going to be close. It's going to be really close. And oh man, I had a talk. I was going back and forth with this one. I really did not know. And here's where I think the Bills are going to get the win. Josh Allen's legs. I don't see how. I think if he can get around and make plays, they're going to win this game. I don't like picking just all favorites. I want to find some upsets in there, and I love what the Bills have been doing. They could very easily be 16-0, right? Lost on a Hail Mary on a Tuesday and a close loss to the Chiefs. These are the 2 best teams in the NFL. I think the Bills pull it out. Now you have Titans and Bills. Who do you got there?
This is one of them games where I had to ask myself, like you said, they had a game earlier. They had games earlier and before. But my attitude to this one is I think the Bills get the W. And the attitude I take is they get up faster. They score so fast and they get up so fast that the run is no longer a point of contention. You just instead of trying to stop Derrick Henry, which I think can be done, but I think they figure if we just score more points, we put the pressure on them, Tannehill's going to have to win the game. Tannehill won't. And so when I look at it, I think the Buffalo Bills find themselves getting up quick and fast, taking the run game away from them, and walking themselves right into the Super Bowl.
Okay, so now I love Tannehill as much as the next person. I think he's really underrated, but I don't think he'll be able to go out and single-handedly win a playoff game in the scenario that you're saying. I mean, I love Tannehill. He's just not that type of quarterback. So we actually both have the Packers and Bills in Super Bowl 55. This is, I didn't think we'd have the same Super Bowl. This is very interesting. So you've got the Packers.
The Packers are suspect.
Okay.
They're suspect. But my soul says that they have the better chance because it's Lambeau. If they wasn't playing in Lambeau, it's different. But it's cold. And I've played in the cold. It's not fun.
No, not at all. And that's where they thrive. And you could say the same thing about Buffalo. I mean, Buffalo arguably colder than Green Bay. But there would be meaning in, where's the Super Bowl played? Cold doesn't matter, it's a dome. Or it's always played at a dome or somewhere like Miami.
Correct.
Now, this is going to be a great game. You have the Packers, who have the most NFL championships in league history, and the Bills, who they don't have a Super Bowl. They lost 4 in a row at one point. Do they have an NFL championship? They might have one.
Who, the Bills?
Yeah. Like
I don't think they do.
Yeah.
Okay, I know they got there like 4 times, but they never won it because that would have been during the Jim Kelly era.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever won it.
Okay, so you have the team with the most championships versus a team with none. And I think this.
Or do they got one?
They do have one. Okay, I thought they had one because I don't think there's a team. I think the Jaguars and Texans are the only ones, and the Panthers.
Yeah, they gotta have one because there's only a few teams that don't have it.
It's only the Jaguars, Panthers, and Texans.
Yeah, it's the Jaguars, Lions, Texans,
the Titans.
No, wait.
1 year short.
Titans. They haven't won it. Yeah.
That's besides the point. So I think this is going to be a very interesting game. You've got a team with the most championships versus a team with one, and not in a very long time. Okay. I'm going to get to the point. I have the Bills taking this one home. And the reason I have the Bills taking this one home is I just love what they've done this year. I mean, I just think they're a complete team. They play offense and defense at a very high level. This would be such a great game. It would be an absolute dogfight. It would be back and forth offenses would show up, defenses would show up. I think it'd be like a 24-21 type game. I'm never picking the Packers to win the Super Bowl. That's never happening. Give me the Bills. Get this one done. Bills are my second favorite team, by the way. I like to cheer for teams that like haven't won in a long time, like the Cubs. I'm a Cubs fan. I like to cheer for teams like that. And Josh Allen's my favorite player in the NFL. So when the Bears get eliminated, and when the Bears get eliminated, I'm rooting for the Bills. And I'm going to take the Bills to take this one.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is another one of those games that's going to come down to experience. And so, as much as I love the Bills, I think they're too young and they're too raw. This reminds me of a similar game that occurred between the 49ers when they had Colin Kaepernick, and they were going up against an older version of the Baltimore Ravens. And experience won out. Company. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. And experience won out. The pressure was not on them like it was on other people. And it's played out a few times this way, where the experienced team who understands the pressure of the game doesn't get caught up in it. Go back to the Falcons versus New England, and you could tell that early on they came out energized and ready to go. But they let their foot off the gas because Kyle Shanahan is crazy. And on top of that, the experience started getting to him the moment that the score started getting cut. So when I look at this game, I'm taking the Packers to win the Super Bowl, and I think Aaron Rodgers gets his second Super Bowl, and at least Josh Allen get to a Super Bowl and get some experience to try to repeat another time. But yeah. I don't think it happens this year.
Yeah, listen, I love Josh Allen, and just if the Packers win the Super Bowl, you're a Lions fan, I'm a Bears fan, and that's a nightmare for both of us. I just can't let that happen. But I do think the Bills, I think they stack up better as a more complete team, because the Packers, like I've talked about the Bills, they haven't been like, okay, they got dominated by Tennessee on a Tuesday. I'm gonna throw that game away. Okay, that on a Tuesday, I'm not gonna throw that away. The Packers have just been like downright dominated, particularly against the Bucs when they went down to Tampa Bay and got spanked, and against the Vikings where they just ran all over them. But
I mean, they barely beat the Lions.
Yeah, it's the inconsistency that I've seen from Green Bay that might catch up to him in a game like this. But we have the same Super Bowl matchup, a different outcome. Luke's taking the Packers. I am rocking with the Bills. Like I said, I do really hope like you're a Lions fan, but you're also sort of like a Seahawks fan too.
Yeah, see, I like three teams. So when I grew up, I always rooted for the underdogs, and growing up, I was a Seahawks, Bucks, and Lions fan.
Okay, yeah. So I'm basically the same way. I mean, I wouldn't consider the Bills I'm not like a diehard Bills fan, but like I would cheer for them over every team in the NFL besides the Bears. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Drop your Super Bowl picks in the comments. I'm interested to see what you guys have to say. You guys are going to tell me that I don't know football, which fine, go ahead. I don't care. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Luke's channel will be in the description. If you didn't subscribe last time, you better go do it this time, because he's posted some great stuff on there. You're not going to want to miss that. Do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I had a full epic rant the last time on my last show. And again, fun. Just appreciate you for having me come on, because I love talking football. This is the best part of the year. We're going to get into the off season, and so we gotta make sure we keep ourselves up, man. We gotta make sure that we are keeping the sport going and enjoying every bit of it. I'm sure you getting ready for March Madness, knowing once the season over. Yeah, but yeah, just make sure you come over to check it out. Disagree with me, agree with me. Love me, hate me, still show up to talk football. It's all the same with me.
All right, so that's going to do it for us, and we'll see you guys next time.